Hello. For those that assist Stefan Milo's videos, as well as for Stefan Milo himself, in this video we will make that Stefan Milo, as well as all others like him, won't be kept up at night anymore with certain questions regarding the subject. So please do not forget to pass on this video to Stefan Milo and others in the same situation. Before we kick off, congratulations Stefan Milo for your 180 fascinating videos. We have been fans of you, Stefan Milo, since long and assisted most of your videos. In his video, Stefan Milo kicks off at 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Did Neanderthals or some other archaic human make it to the Americas? In fact, he asks about North America, but we will simplify the answer. And later come to split it up in North and South America. That's the first thing. This is Stefan Milo, and we are quoting. That's the first thing we're talking about today in Just Human Evolution, archaeological questions I can't get out of my brain. So they keep me up at night. Stefan Milo saying, and we are quoting, did Neanderthals or some other archaic make it to the Americas? It's an interesting one, according to Stefan Milo. This is a question I've changed my mind on a lot. And now we end Stefan Milo quotes. From here on, Stefan Milo goes on for some 26 minutes and does not come to solve any of the questions that keep him and others awake. So here we of Origin for Existence kick in or kick off to solve his first and all other questions of Stefan Milo and others similar to him. It won't take long, simply because we will use scientific tools that neither Stefan Milo nor other historians, archaeologists, etc. make use of. So we're the only ones to make use of them, at least in this context. We will use the extremely important but short whole genome tree first, because we have several videos about all other scientific tools that matter. So for now, the short and simple whole genome tree. Whole genome, you will understand that it's very complete. The whole genome is like a complete human compared to a toe of a foot when compared to mitochondrial DNA or Y-DNA. Whole genome is everything, and mitochondrial DNA is just is not even part of the nucleus DNA, and Y-DNA is a very tiny part of all of the genome. This whole genome tree starts with the ancestor, and now ancestor here on the top, ancestor. It's a bit small. I'm not sure if I can. Ancestral. This means it's the ancestor. Okay, the whole genome tree starts with the ancestor here. The ancestor, this tree doesn't say where the ancestor is from. The first line, or next to the ancestor, the first line, here in green, or next to the ancestor, comes haplotype B006, 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 B006. Here, B006. It's other Bs, but the one that is significant is B006. Haplotype B006 in green is related to the Neanderthals as well as to the Denisovans. So for now, we will also call it the Neanderthals to keep it simple and not to every time mention Neanderthals and Denisovans. We will talk Neanderthals, but we mean, when it's related to B006, we mean Neanderthals as well as the Denisovans. And so we call B06 Neanderthals and put them in contrast with modern humans. The Neanderthals genetically are identical to the ancestors high up in the tree. Why do we claim that? That's because the researchers claim the difference is only 4 alleles, and a difference of 4 alleles is less difference than between two random today living modern humans. So the Neanderthals are genetically, not morphologically, equal to the ancestor. All groups after B006, are modern humans. Modern humans. Modern humans are sister groups of the Neanderthals, so all modern humans here are sister groups of the Neanderthals, and in fact, of the Denisovans as well. So they have the same genome, they only differ in methylations. And methylations are not genetic differences, it's the same genome, but some genomes are methylated. In one case, in the Neanderthals, and other genomes are genes are methylated in the case of the modern humans. A methylation is a switch off of a gene. It's the same gene, but it's switched on in one case and switched off in another case. So what did we learn from this one and simple whole genome tree? So what did we learn? The Neanderthals descended out of a group that contained modern humans, Neanderthals and Denisovans. These three groups are sister groups and are genetically identical. So the parents were genetically identical since they are identical to the Neanderthals. So all you see here is genetically identical, is in fact human. Right? The Neanderthals are morphologically different because their methylation is different. So in other words, what we learned is that we do not descend from a chimp or any other animal, but from modern humans or modern humans likes, because they will be 400 to 2 million years old, right? The ancestor. So genetically, it are modern humans, but we wouldn't call them like that because we don't even recognize them right now, except they are here in the haplotype tree, in the whole genome tree. These descendants from modern humans, the ancestor, here on the top, this descendants from modern humans was hundreds of thousands of years ago, and most probably millions of years ago, because that was before the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, and probably other archaics that are not recognized yet because we could not sequence their DNA. So, hundreds of thousands or million of years ago was our ancestor, and our ancestor was a modern human. So forget about something claimed to have been 47,000 or 200,000 years ago. And that includes forget about out of Africa 47,000 years ago, because it was at least 400,000 years ago, possibly and probably more than 2 million years ago. But that was not the question. That was not the question of Stefan Milo that kept him awake. At least it was not the first one. When you look at the tree, you see the Neanderthal descended in the Americas. And now it's getting important. Here, the highest frequency of this haplotype is clearly in the Americas. Secondly, it is in Europe, but it's much less than half. I would say it's less than 1/3. In Asia, it is less than 1/4. And in Africa, it's possibly 1/10, something like 1/10. So it clearly comes from the Americas, and it leaked to other continents. It's logical. It leaked to Europe through the Atlantic gyres. It leaked to Asia through the Pacific gyres, and it leaked to Africa to the again through the Atlantic gyres. So Europe and Africa through Atlantic gyres, Europe most probably, or more northern Atlantic gyres or currents, and Africa most probably through South Atlantic gyres, and Asia depending on the place in Asia or the place in Indonesia and Polynesia. Right? It's not the case. Let's say Asia. Well, it's less, let's say, polarized as in the case of Europe and Africa. So it's through the Pacific gyres. So that's what I said. When you look at the tree, you see the Neanderthals descended in the Americas, because the Neanderthals are represented by haplotype B006, and they descended in the Americas, and they lead or descended to Europe, to Asia, and in the last instance, to Indonesia and Polynesia, and in the second last instance to Africa. In other words, the most complete genetic information, which is the whole genome, which is what we are looking at, indicates or proves out of the Americas, and disproves out of Africa. All ancestral markers, including mitochondrial Eve DNA, confirm this indication of or proof of out of Americas, and the disapproval of out of Africa. And it solves Stefan Milo's first doubt. Did Neanderthal reach the Americas? Because the answer, we know the answer now, the answer is no, Neanderthals did not reach the Americas. Instead, they expanded out of the Americas and consequently are out of Americans. Neanderthals are out of Americans. This answer does not only solve Stefan Milo's and others' first doubt, it solves all his and others' doubts, and it solves all tens of or hundreds of paradigms related to consensus. A consensus that involves out of Africa, which is disproved. And instead, out of Americas is proven. So all paradigms are proven, but that's in other videos. Including it explains the for consensus weird arrival of modern humans and archaics in Oceania, Australia, and Indonesia, which is the subject of another video. I think it's the last video of Stefan Milo. With this information from this haplotype tree, it's not weird anymore, because the most impressive currents of the world will throw any out of Americans that manage to float long enough onto Oceania, Polynesia, Australia, Indonesia, Japan, and Asia, which is thought of as weird that out of Africans would arrive there first, but there are no out of Africans, they are out of Americans, and it's not weird because it's just the current that takes them there. Even if they would not laugh, if they would not row, if they would not sail, if they would just draft, they would arrive in these so-called weird places like Australia, Oceania, Polynesia, Indonesia, Japan, and Asia. Because based on this haplotype tree of archaics and modern humans, they all expand from the Americas and are out of Americans. Why is Stefan Milo kept awake at night? Stefan Milo and others are kept awake at night because the whole genome haplotype tree is systematically kept away from him, and obviously from all others, or Stefan Milo and others did not manage yet to lay their hands on it. What is it? The whole genome haplotype tree that just taught us important things, that gave us important answers and solved important questions. The link to the whole genome tree and one of the studies regarding this whole genome tree is mentioned in the description of this video, so you can check all for yourself. Searching on YouTube for ancestral markers, put it in between quotes, please, and you will find that all scientific tools prove out of the Americas and disprove out of Africa. Once more, or every time more. And when you would do this search, you would see presented many of our videos regarding ancestral markers and the questions that keep Stefan Milo and others awake. So no reason is left to be kept awake at night for Stefan Milo nor for others.